Are you recording already?
I am. I hit it just to catch the little extra nuances.
All right, here we go. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Talk Story Unscripted. Here we are. We've got a special guest with us, too. And my special guest today, my show and tell, is coffee mug. Look, Mauna Kea.
Oh, nice! You got it on the mountain. My daughter, she goes crazy for show and tell, man. Every other Friday is her show and tell. Well, for our show and tell, we got this guy, Brent Miller Jr.
Hey, Brent.
Thanks for
guys,
joining us today, man.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
He's coming from a secret lair in, where are you? Are you on the North Pole or the South Pole?
No, neither, thank God. Out in California.
California, hunkered in, all nice and comfortable.
So is this your studio, your work area? Is this in your home? Where are you at right now?
No, actually, our production studio is closed down right now because of COVID-19, and we're all working remotely. So this is my home studio.
Nice. Well, that's a nice looking home studio.
Yeah, thank you. It gets the job done.
Yeah. How have you been, Brent?
What's that?
How have you been?
Good. I guess as much as anybody else, trying to work from home and do things a lot more remotely with the release of this film too, Before the Wrath.
Yeah.
No, the family's good, and our children, school's been let out here in California as it has. I'm not sure how it is in Hawaii.
Same.
Same thing, yeah. And so they're trying to do online classes with their teachers, and it's a big learning curve. But like everybody else, we're just trying to ride through this.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's well worth it. I know it's painful for some, but it's definitely worth it. So yeah. Well, that's good. I'm glad you're good. It's funny, Brent. I've been. I don't feel like things are much different because I've been staring at your face for like hours. You know why?
I
don't mean to sound weird or anything, but
he's the guy in the bushes, man.
Yeah. So yeah, I think we're done here. So
exactly. Yeah, I've been editing. For those who don't know, Brent Miller Jr., which we all love, and I think I'm going to change my name. But anyway, Brent is part of the Endure conference, and so you actually opened it up. So you were the first person I had to edit, and it was great. So yeah, I'm familiar with your face, and you're looking really good. And yeah, I'm glad you shaved a bit more. That's good.
And, he really likes what you did with the new curtains that and the new stuff on the couches looks really good too.
Oh, perfect. Yeah.
Good job. Yeah. So we're excited. I'm down to the last couple to edit, and then we're going to be streaming it. So that's really exciting.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah. Great. There's a lot of people that I know that are interested in watching, Jack Hibbs and John Miller and all these great pastors. So you got to let me know when it's available. I gotta share it.
Absolutely.
So being involved with that, Brent, what was your takeaway from the whole Endure conference?
I absolutely loved it. I felt just absolutely the underdog there with just the amazing pastors, that it was such a privilege to even be able to speak next to these people. But theologically, unbelievably sound, just very good, direct, honest biblical advice about the end times, and also just so timely when things in the world are just kind of unraveling everywhere. That their message, I really think, just kind of instilled a sense of hope in all the people that were there, and it was a great turnout. The room was packed. So it absolutely looking forward to working with Pastor Ron again as we do something else with this, coming back out to Hawaii.
Yeah, super timely. As Pete's been working on it, he's been talking about how it's crazy, everything going on right now, and the content that he's been working with, uniquely timely conference.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's very educational. I know about Bible prophecy, I've studied it through the years, but it was just really great to go back to it and really dive deep, and it's definitely a deep dive, and there's some great things, great nuggets out of it. And so it's going to be exciting. And, if someone's watching and they're a little bit confused about Bible prophecy, which you can easily get confused, and there's so many different things out there, this is such a straightforward series of sessions that are just clear, concise, straightforward. And Brent, it must have been so cool that you got to open up the whole thing, the whole
Yeah, that was an unexpected honor when they asked me to do that. And but yeah, it was so neat just to start the whole thing. And as I said, because the speakers were so amazing, I said it can only get better from here. So
yeah, that was a great line. That's the one thing I remember from your thing.
Me too.
Well, I'm glad you started with me, because it can only get better.
That's right. But yeah, fantastic.
So speaking of the Coming Wrath, which you showed a preview, actually you showed the Coming Wrath at the conference. How have things been going with it? I know with Corona stuff happening, has that affected like you being able to premiere it? What's that been like for you?
Yeah, well, luckily it premiered in California before the official release to a sold-out crowd of several hundred people at the Tower Theater in Sacramento, California.
Awesome.
And the film officially released on March 3rd, 2020. Okay. And so Before the Wrath shipped to all the retailers that were still accepting stock. But it's been really interesting. This coronavirus has just upset the entire film industry in so many crazy ways. Even the backlots that we're looking to shoot on this summer for other films that are in pre-production, they're not booking dates right now. Nobody in the film industry is working like anybody else. Like it's just completely dead right now, other than some pre-production and post-production stuff where people are working remotely like we are.
Right.
But Before the Wrath was supposed to release to Walmart, Target, Best Buy, Hobby Lobby, Mardell, all the VOD platforms from iTunes to Fandango. I mean, it's a full worldwide release.
Right.
And because most of these companies are operating on skeleton crews, even all the video on demand platforms are backlogged weeks with publishing even digital content. So Before the Wrath is not even available on most digital platforms yet, even though it's still coming out. And Walmart and Best Buy still don't have their stock. And to make things worse, our main manufacturers in Southern California, where everything is stamped, Blu-rays and everything else for the physical distribution worldwide, shut down just without notice. Just got a call that they're completely closed. All the manufacturing plants are closing. So it's every day. It's just it changes. And but the handful of retailers that Wrath has been released to, say Amazon, direct order at beforethewrath.com, which is our main warehouse here in California, as well as Christian Cinema, huge partner. That they were fantastic in releasing and promoting this film, and others. It's been #1 in the country, #1 Christian film, #1 documentary in the country since March 3rd. Until very recently, I still believe, just released, and they're doing phenomenal. But Wrath is still the #1 documentary in America.
Dude, that's amazing.
So, yeah. In fact, just last week, we were completely blown away when we were looking at the sales data with our partners. But last week, Before the Wrath has such a powerful message related to what's going on right now, that it was trending as the #4 film in the United States behind Jumanji, 1917, and Frozen 2.
Get out of here!
For 3 straight days, it's trending at #4. It's unbelievable.
Wow, that's
hey. So look, for those people who don't even know what Before the Wrath is, why don't we just play the trailer right now?
Oh.
As Galileans, we witnessed his first miracle. He warned us that a time of great deception would come. But we must hold on to our faith that one day he would return to save us from the end of the world.
Most people don't believe that Jesus is coming back. What if there was evidence that proves that this is all real?
Because there were so many people bringing up little bits and pieces of this. I'm thinking, there's got to be a pattern here.
The Bible talks about it as being a mystery, but why does the rapture have to happen? What's the point to it all? A Galilean would have understood that perfectly.
They are the key to everything. I'm just so stunned. I never thought I would see this in my lifetime.
This is the most profound discovery in human history.
From his promise made through wine at the Last Supper, to why the world cannot know the day of his return, we were chosen to preserve the truth until the end of days. So even if we are not spared from death, others can unveil what we knew and believe.
This discovery proves that he is coming back.
Just like that. What a great trailer. Can't wait to, actually, I've seen it, but I can't wait for others to see it too. That's awesome. Good job, Brent.
Yeah, dude, seriously, man. Love it.
Thank you. Thank you. It's been, everybody involved with this film has just been so just passionate about this message being delivered, right? In fact, this film, Before the Wrath, was supposed to come out over a year ago. And with back-to-back problems beyond our control. I mean, there were deaths in some of the families on our crew, key elements of our crew, which delayed certain things being done. And really, it was one thing after another that was delaying the release of this film. And surprisingly, so it's why when it released on March 3rd, that was like the earliest that we could finally get it wrapped up in post-production and finally getting out. It's been an incredible struggle. You know, and sometimes, I mean, through the end of the production, we just had to trust the Lord's timing in this. And that's what we would say. We'd say, it's in God's hands. It's going to be released when he needs it released, because nothing was going right as far as our milestones and our production schedule. And so we're just in awe that this film came out, you know, right as coronavirus is spreading through the world, because this is the perfect response to what's going on. It's an incredible message of hope regarding our Lord's return.
Absolutely. And a great resource for people to turn to when they were looking for answers, you know?
Yeah. That's great.
And now that everyone's at home, we have a captive audience. So it's either Frozen 2 or Before the Wrath. So
I only watched Frozen 2 so many times. I've seen it like 14 times. My daughter goes crazy.
I don't know how you can live with yourself, Doug. Man, I watched it once and I was struggling.
I saw that. I have a 9-year-old daughter, so yeah, I saw that opening night at the theater.
Awesome.
Fair enough.
You know what? I can definitely relate to Delays, the documentary that I've been working on with about the Christian missionaries coming to Hawaii 200 years ago. That also got postponed, and it was supposed to get postponed till June, and then I got a call a couple days ago saying that we're doing it in 2 weeks. So I went from crazy crunch time to vacation, right back to crazy crunch time. So I definitely feel you there. But you know, when we were watching the film at the conference, I just was blown away at the cinematography. I was blown away at the content. You did a phenomenal job on that, Brett.
Yeah, thank you so much. And you know, Kevin Sorbo being involved in that too as the narrator is, I mean, he's great. He's out there, you know, essentially, you know, as one of the few Christian actors in Hollywood, you know, talking about Christ and talking about Christian principles and worldviews. And so, yeah, he's been phenomenal in supporting this.
Yeah, that's great. Hey, but what's that thing behind you, man? Is that like an air conditioner or what?
Yeah, it's really hot here in California. It's a little portable AC unit. No, it's just no. This is actually one of the cinema cameras that we use for production. In fact, I have another one right here.
Dude.
We shoot on red. A lot of film students and people in Hollywood, they'll recognize this right away.
Making my mouth water over here.
So, yeah.
You're a lot better looking than mine.
I've got something on a red too. Wait. I've got my red camera.
Oh, your red
Yeah,
t-shirt.
oh, yeah.
I wonder which one's more expensive.
That's all I've got.
Right.
I'll trade you though, Brent. Anytime. If you want.
Yeah, we'll send you some Ingenuity Films t-shirts though. You should have.
There you go.
Dude.
Promise.
Yeah, love that.
Yeah, I will. I'll send them out. Yeah.
That'd be great. So, in regards to the cameras, how important is that to tell your story? How, let's get creative here. How is that? What part does that play in telling your story?
Yeah, as far as really getting the emotion across, the point of your story, the camera actually doesn't make a big difference. I mean, a good story is a good story. That's what they say. But as kind of you get more polished in your vision and how you want things to be portrayed, how you want them to be presented cinematically. The reason why we shoot on cameras like Red, which is this shoots at a 6K resolution, is because it offers a lot of flexibility in post-production to reframe and just kind of, really be able to get that little emotional edge. And quite frankly, a little secret, in the mistakes we make on set. So, so we can fix it in post and reframe and stuff with the much higher resolution. So it does help. It does help, but definitely has been an invaluable tool in kind of making sure things visually look like the way we need them to look. Yeah.
I have a question about the Red, because Pete has talked about this a little bit, and it's something that kind of blew my mind, is being able to adjust the ISO in post. Mm-hmm. Are you able to do that?
Yeah, it shoots raw. Everything is completely raw data. Wow. So full color grading, changing the ISO, absolutely everything is just metadata. So it's all adjusted in post, and then we push it over to our color grader. Actually, before the Wrath, all the on-set cinematography was graded by Avery Peck out here in California, and he's kind of an upcoming star in the color grading world. And they can just move and shift everything around to have it look beautiful, and you did a great job.
I tell you, awesome. Color grading has to be one of the hardest things to do. It really is. I mean, when you're a one-man band and you've got to color grade, you've got to shoot it, you got to do all these things. I tell you, color grading is, for me anyway, is really hard. I mean, coming from a photography background, I don't know. To me, it's a lot easier dealing with a photograph and color grading that compared to something that's moving. I'm not sure why, but I really struggle with it. It's truly an art form to color grade.
It is. The reason why we brought Avery on board is because we do some color grading in-house, and Avery isn't, he's not full-time at Ingenuity Films. He's an outsource that we use. Yeah. And we attempted to do color grading on Wrath, for probably a couple weeks until, we just literally threw in the towel and said, call someone who's an expert at this, that this is all they do.
Call a doctor.
You have to, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's really a science, and I mean, just looking at an image, I think, well, it looks okay, and then they get in there, it's like, wow, I didn't even see that. I didn't even realize that,
Exactly. Yeah.
Do you ever shoot with two different types of cameras? Like, you ever do a Red for this angle and a different kind of camera over here? Or you just flat out same cameras across the board?
Yeah, right now we're 100% Red studio, so it's all Red. But in the past, we have shot on different cameras. In fact, the very first documentary that was released almost 10 years ago, The Final Prophecies, which was another #1 bestseller hit in the United States, was shot on, and you might remember this, the old DVX200 from Panasonic.
Oh, yes.
Do you remember that? Yeah, that was the indie camera of the day, and so yeah, it was shot on that. And
I've had plenty of wrestling with that thing.
Yeah,
believe me. Yeah,
you guys know all this technical stuff.
The other thing I see, you've got some coffee cups right behind you. Well, is that what they are? Coffee cups?
So ridiculous.
You got
One's like a 16 ounce and there's a 32 ounce coffee cup.
right. Few of these laying out. Yeah, in fact, before the wrath, our go-to lenses here, the Sigma Cines.
Oh, nice.
You know,
Yeah.
we've got a whole nother set of the primes, you know, the full frame primes in a case back there, and you know, these are a couple of their zooms. But as far as workhorses, I mean, this is a workhorse lens. I mean, you can put these through dust and dirt, you know, and these are just absolutely fantastic.
So I'm not the tech guy when it comes to cameras and lenses, and I'm learning, and Pete is teaching me more and more, and I'm learning more and more. But tell me, Brent, what is it about a lens? Because I see some lenses that are, you know, $100, and I see another lens that's like $12,000. What is it that makes the lens as good as it is?
$11,000.
I know. You know, people are always
got money into it.
Yeah, I mean, they always say that one of the biggest challenges in indie filmmaking is money, is the budget, because you know things are so unbelievably expensive. And for the most part, for a lot of indie filmmakers, the more affordable cinema lenses really do a phenomenal job. Where you see the astronomical increase in price are those, you know, the subtle differences, where you see lenses that can really control chromatic aberration. That's like that purple fringing you get on high. Oh, yeah, like right here, like these, the reflection off of these, wow.
C-stand?
Yeah, C-stands. You know, you get kind of this weird like green fringing on that, you know, and that's why the high-end cinema lenses, they control all that. You don't get
interesting
or resolvable resolution, you know, and just so many different factors. Color rendering, they all have different coloring rendering. They have different flares, different, you know, coatings on the flaring. So yeah, it's surprising how much like shooting on Cook lenses in the end can really kind of change that subtle aesthetic feel of your film versus if you shot on Sigma Cine or Zeiss or what have you.
Right.
Yeah, they do. Lenses definitely have a characteristic to them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Speaking of which, that's why we also shoot on these. This is from the 1980s, the Aries Standard primes.
Yeah, nice.
Yes. Very, very highly sought after lens. This thing's over 30 years old. It's been completely disassembled and maintained and rebuilt. And the scenes in the film before the wrath that were done on gimbals, you know, those stabilizers that move the cameras, the scene where the door slams in the trailer.
Yep.
That was actually shot on this lens on a gimbal with a red Raven. And
nice.
So you'll notice in that shot that it's a little softer. It looks a little more vintage, you know, versus the other shots. And well, that's why. So yeah,
wow,
it changes the character.
That's remarkable. I heard a gentleman, his name is Roy Wagner. He's a friend of Pete's. He's a cinematographer, and I heard.
By the way, sorry, Doug. By the way, I asked him what lenses should I get. He recommended the Sigma lenses.
I'll be darned.
Go on.
Yeah, I heard him say that movie making is crisis management. What do you think about that?
Oh, yes, it is. Yeah. It's, you know, when you start out with a film, you know, most filmmakers, they have this broad vision of the message they want to get across, the emotion they want to portray, why it's important, why it matters for people to see this. And yeah, every step of the way is really, you know, solving one problem and another problem and another problem. And,
right.
And it's amazing how it also helps to shape and mold the creative process, though. I mean, even on set, we have scenes set up where we think we're going to shoot it one way, and at the end of the day, it's something completely different, and, you know, you never see it coming. But yeah, I definitely agree with that.
So, like, the challenges lead to expanding the value of the creativity.
Absolutely. You have to be an on-your-toes thinker. You have to be willing to adapt. You have to be willing to have that flexibility to say, you know, we had this idea, but, you know, it's heading a different direction, and let's work with it going this way, and you're constantly doing that. In fact, it's the same kind of process with documentaries and docudramas during interviews. You have an outline, and then all of a sudden there's a tidbit of information, and before you know it, it leads in different areas that you didn't expect. That's all filmmaking. It's all like that.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up because we are way over time. But it's so fun. It's so interesting. So, let's just go with it.
Can we do one more session with you, Brent?
Yeah, I would love to.
Cool.
Yeah. I'm in quarantine here. I have nothing else to do.
You got nowhere to go except to go play Nintendo Switch.
Right.
Well, go ahead, Pete.
I was going to do the same thing. Before we close, Brent, I was just going to ask you if there's anything that you could share to our viewers. What's the one hot tip you could share in regards to the coronavirus life at the moment, being in the home? What encouraging word could you give to our viewers?
Oh, wow. In fact, like Jack Hibbs says, and I completely agree, God might have not made the coronavirus, but he's definitely using it to draw people to himself. That's how tragedy works in life, because this world is temporary. The word teaches us that. And if anything, this should be a wake-up call to the church and to everybody that everything that we see in this world, the governments, the economics, it's all temporary. It can all fall apart. The governments of man will eventually all be gone. And this really is a time to be thankful to the Lord that he has so much mercy upon us, that he's giving us this kind of wake-up call to spend this time with family, to get back into the Word,
Amen.
To really focus on what matters in life. Absolutely.
Awesome. Great word, Brent. Well, I look forward to session 2 with you, man.
All right.
We'll see you guys next time.